My name is Tom Dott. I'm a Senior Vice President of Commercial Banking for Associated Bank here in Madison. Believe it or not, what I wanted to be in high school was a dairy farmer. I had spent several years working on a relatively large dairy farm growing up and really fell in love with it. So I actually went to college here at the University of Wisconsin with a dairy science major. Well, obviously it's changed since I'm not milking cows, but what I will tell you is what it did is it really built in me a very strong work ethic. You were milking cows 365 days a year, twice a day, whether it was snowing, raining, freezing, whatever else it was. And it really, I think, built up my work ethic and my character. Absolutely love cycling. Been cycling for several years now. Typically on an annual basis, set a goal for myself to ride anywhere from 2,500 to 3,500 miles throughout the course of the year. And we'll ride all year round, weather permitting. Coffee. Anyone who knows me knows if I'm at a meeting, they usually set a coffee pot right next to me. And I've probably taken that to a whole new level in that I've now started to actually roast my own beans at home, which is actually quite a fun thing to do. And if you really want a good cup of coffee and a really good kickstart to your day, it just doesn't get any better than that. 3 summers ago, actually, I contracted Lyme disease. And it went neural, which means it invaded my central nervous system due to a lack of time that I had it versus the time that it was diagnosed. Ended up knocking me flat on my back for about a month. I had bilateral Bell's palsy, which meant my entire face was paralyzed. Lost about 43 pounds, really bad pain. Had an IV PICC line in my arm for 6 weeks. Myself, at home intravenous antibiotics. It was a pretty nasty and humbling experience. And at the time, I was probably in some of the best shape of my life when it occurred. And if anything, that whole experience with Lyme really made you appreciate life, family, and kind of reprioritize things for me. My worst professional day happened several years ago when I was then working for another bank, and I went to have my first really high-level executive meeting, and I was kind of in tow as an observer. And we went to the executive dining room to have lunch, and they were serving potato soup, and they had the bowl of potato soup at your place setting as you sat down. So I went to sit down and bent over to grab my chair to sit down, and I sat down only to realize my tie was submerged in the potato soup. So I in any very discreet way that I could, prompted to pull my tie out of the potato soup and then squeegee it off to one side to avoid any potential embarrassment. And I thought I'd pulled it off until the ride home when my then boss said to me, he says, "Hey, by the way, nice move with the soup."